Over the last several weeks, the January 6th Select Committee has laid out what it believes is Donald Trump's clear case of wrongdoing. And this Thursday, the committee will take an even closer look at his actions or lack thereof in a prime time hearing. But in the midst of all of this, Trump is planning to announce a presidential run because, according to Rolling Stone, he thinks it will insulate him from federal charges. Which brings us to the Department of Justice and a memo unearthed by our colleague Rachel Maddow. It was issued by Attorney General Merrick Garland back in May and reaffirms a policy position authored by Bill Barr, the former Attorney General. Barr's policy instructed department officials to avoid investigations into presidential candidates, their running mates, and senior staffers without his direct approval due to electioneering sensitivities. When I read this, I have to admit, I found it pretty rich, considering I actually don't remember this much hand-wringing and debate and pondering and pontification when it came to investigating or announcing you're investigating or announcing the investigation is over when it came to Hillary Clinton back in 2016. I remember press conferences and letters, all kinds of things were happening, but they were talking about it out loud in public. I remember that. Joining us to discuss, Molly Jong-Fast, contributing writer for The Atlantic. So Molly, you have been critical of Merrick Garland. Do you think that there's too much hand-wringing here? Do you think the hand-wringing over whether an investigation or indictment of Trump will be viewed as political underplays the actual threat to the rule of law that we're talking about? And aren't they going to call any investigation political no matter what happens?
Yeah. I mean, for sure, Merrick Garland should not worry about what Republicans are going to say. Republicans are going to say crazy stuff where the Trump party, the Trump Republican Party has become this wild place where they say all sorts of stuff. So I don't think you can ever appear above the fray to these people. I would say that I think the January 6th committee has made a lot of good points and made it much, much harder if Merrick Garland wanted to not. I mean, I think that there's so much now and there's so much testimony, it'd be quite hard not to follow that. But yeah, I mean, I don't think you can ever worry about what the Republicans are going to say in the Trump Republican Party.
Do you see the committee as maybe giving whatever Merrick Garland does a little bit of political cover? Because they're laying out more evidence than even folks who had read up on every single January 6th related piece of evidence. They were surprised by some of the new information we've seen throughout these hearings.
Yeah, they've done an amazing job. And I thought from the first hearing that they had done a really good job, but I've been just shocked at how good it was. Like, they've had great witnesses and they've been, they've made these pleas at the end of every testimony, at the end of every hearing, like, if you know anything, if you can back up anything, like, come, if you see something, say something. And in fact, that has led to more witnesses, which is super, kind of amazing. And I think that part of Trumpism is that nobody has sort of pushed hard enough in a legal way to sort of unravel this. And so what they did is they had this hearing and they had someone speak, and she really did explain all the stuff. And you have to wonder, like, how many people saw that ketchup dripping down the wall and didn't say anything?
Imagine being the witness that's like, I would like to volunteer as tribute to testify that I saw the ketchup dripping down the wall. I mean, just like, what a time. One of the things I sort of joked about in the open is the fact that, like, okay, I work for Hillary Clinton. So all of this, like, hand-wringing, all of this, like, oh, we need to appear politically neutral. I don't recall that being a consideration when the person being investigated was Hillary Clinton and it was her email server. I'm not saying that you should have, or, like, these considerations are not important and that you should be politically partisan when investigating. I am not saying that. I think it is important for the Department of Justice to be independent. But James Comey came out and had a press conference to talk about how he wasn't charging Hillary Clinton, and also sent a letter a week before the election day that basically halted any progress she had in early voting. I mean, that really did interfere in an ongoing election cycle. And I don't remember these debates happening at the time.
I remember when he held that press conference, I thought, that's it for her. Like, that's it. Like, he has just put the nail in that. I thought she's not going to win because of this letter. Because the thing is, it created suspicion around her. And it made it so the two candidates seemed like the same, even though they absolutely were unequivocally not. But it was that moment, I think, that really did. And there's a lot of writing that says that a lot of people, very smart people, think that that letter cost her the election.
If you look at the graph, there is actually data to back up that point. And as one of my radio callers pointed out today, thinking through what we're living through in terms of Donald Trump, like, how can a former president who we're now finding out maybe attempted a coup run for president again? A system that allows that legally, I don't know if that's functioning right. But we're out of time for the day, and I'd love to have you back as we process all of this throughout the course of the next 3 months. Molly Jong-Fast, thank you so much for being here. As always, it's great to have you. Please stay safe.